Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0 in the Premier League. A huge day to the Toon Army. Congratulations to them. A very solid performance, especially defensively. They send themselves to 8 in the table. But Arsenal's title hopes have been dealt a massive, massive blow indeed. Liverpool and Manchester City, that are both currently 4 and 5 points ahead of them respectively, kick off in around 35 minutes time from now when we went live. They could find themselves 7 to 8 points off of the top. If results don't go their way this weekend, they could actually be as low as 7th in the table. Lots to talk about, lots to delve into today. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. Make sure the bell notification is turned on as well. I want to shout out our title sponsors and just say, if you want to watch the 3 p.m. games today, but you don't know how you're going to do it, of course, if you've got a VPN, I use NordVPN. We can give you a 2-year plan plus 4 months extra for free. You can scan that QR code just there or click on the link that's in our live chat. You see it pinned. You get signed up, very quick and easy, and then you can use an application. You can do it on your desktop or you can do it on your phone. It's Satanta Sport, $3.99 a month. All the Premier League football is available in there. So go and check it out right about now. It really, really is top quality stuff indeed. So scan the QR code now. Set yourselves up, ready for that 3 p.m. game. It takes about 5 minutes to do it all. It's really, really quick and easy. Look, I want to start off by talking about Newcastle because I don't want them to be overshadowed here in any way, any shape or any form. But Newcastle were excellent today. They were really solid, hard to break down. They were defending in what's becoming very popular now in football. They were defending in a 4-4-2, and they were making it really, really difficult for Arsenal to penetrate, to break them down. It was a solid start from Arsenal. They kind of kept the noise of the crowd down. But then the cross from Anthony Gordon, and I scream so much at footballers nowadays, they always want to take a touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, cut inside, outside, do the hokey cokey and turn around. Sometimes get the ball out of your feet, cross it quickly. In this case, it was a first-time cross, and it was succulent. Succulent Chinese meal. That's what popped in my head. That it was amazing. Isak, who is the real deal, pops up with his 3rd goal in 3 games. It was a fantastic header. And actually, sort of, if you look at the accuracy, it looked like it was kind of almost straight at rail, maybe just slightly to his right-hand side. But the power that he was able to generate, 1, the cross was great, and 2, he just got the right connection. 1-0 to Newcastle. And from that point on, barring an opportunity from a corner, Arsenal found it very, very difficult to break down this Newcastle team. Ironically, up until the last kick of the game, essentially, brilliant cross from Bukayo Saka. The Declan Rice, in my opinion, should at the very least be getting on target. But Newcastle, as I say, defended well. They're solid banks of 4. They didn't panic at any moment. Livramento on the right-hand side and Hall on the left-hand side. They both handled Martinelli and Saka today. Absolutely handled them. Took them out of the game for the majority of it and stopped them from being able to play. And they just did great, Newcastle. Again, it wasn't, there wasn't any real chances for them in the second half. There's a few half chances to maybe get on the score sheet, but they just got it done. They got the 3 points. They beat Arsenal again at home. And with the start that Newcastle had to the season, with a lot of pressure building up in the northeast, very, very timely win for them indeed. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Now, when it comes to Arsenal, look, I think the first thing we have to address here is the referee. I'm joking. The first thing I think that needs to be looked at today when it comes to Arsenal is Mikel Arteta. Now, Mikel Arteta has done a very good job rebuilding Arsenal. He's done a very good job getting them into title races. But the mistake he made today, and Arsenal fans may think this is an even bigger problem, but the mistake he made today was the starting lineup. Ranieri should have begun the game. Now, I know you might all look at it and say, well, actually, when he came on, he didn't do very much. But that's when you're bringing him on, when you're a goal down, a very hostile environment with a team that's playing well. He should have started the football match. It was actually quite open, far more open than when they went 1-0 down. But it wasn't just about Nwaneri starting. It was around the balance in the midfield. Arsenal did look a better team, marginally, I would say, when Rice went into the 8 and Partey went into those middle areas. There was more balance. So for me, Nwaneri not starting was a big problem. I think the balance in the midfield was a mistake from Mikel Arteta today. And when they went a goal down, there just wasn't the movement. There wasn't the creativity today to get things done. Now, I'm seeing big claims being made online. And I want to throw this out as a question. There are some people saying that Arteta has now been found out. They feel like Arsenal are going a little bit stale. Maybe it's coming to the end of the road for Arteta. I think that talk is a little bit premature, unless, and I say unless, you're someone that never believed in him anyway. Of course, you think it's the end of the road. So this isn't a message for you. I understand your stance. They're not in good form at the minute, Arsenal. And a few weeks back, they got what I call a champions win, where they didn't play well, but they managed to pick up the victory. And I said this about City when they lost to Spurs in the week. You can only maintain that level of performance for a certain period of time and still get away with winning. And City are the best team in the world. They can't do it forever. Arsenal, not the best team in the world. They're a very good team, but they need to get something to click soon. And I do think the starting lineups from Mikel Arteta are a bit of a problem at the moment. They're a little bit negative. Maybe there's a little bit of galaxy braining going on, and he just isn't getting the balance of his team right. And I know Odegaard is a big miss, and I understand that, but I think it's a bigger issue than that. In terms of the title race for Arsenal, look, if City win today, if Liverpool win today, one of the two is going to win, in my opinion. They could be 7 to 8 points behind, which means they need an 8 and a 9 point swing, respectively. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it's a very, very, very uphill task for Arsenal from this point, if indeed Manchester City and Liverpool win today. And I know it's been a tough start to the season for Arsenal. And games like today maybe aren't even the biggest issue here. The red cards, the ill discipline, going down to 10 men. But there are definitely some things that Arsenal fans should be looking at and criticizing here. And actually, for once, and I'm kind of glad there wasn't a big contentious decision. They have to be called out as well. But this is more about the way Arsenal are playing. Equally, I think you have to be really balanced here. People that hate Arsenal won't do this. A lot of credit does have to go to Newcastle. But I think if Arsenal fans are honest with themselves and they look at the Bournemouth game up until the red card, if they look at their second half against Liverpool, was that Liverpool being brilliant? Was it them taking their foot off the gas? There's been a number of performances recently that just haven't quite been at the standard that Arsenal have become accustomed to over the last couple of seasons with Mikel Arteta. But what do you put it down to? Is it bad form that will pass? Is Arteta starting to get to the end of his time at Arsenal? That's not my opinion. It's a question. Seen a lot of people tweeting that during the game. And I think it's food for thought from some individuals. As ever, I want your opinions. Panel's coming on very, very soon to have their say. First of all, some of your super chats here. Sean here says, hold that L tight. Well, of course, as a Liverpool fan, you are going to be very, very happy indeed with that defeat. Thank you very much here to Sham, a member for 28 months. You absolute legend. Arsenal winless in 3 Premier League games soon versus us. Scary. Well, look, Dyke, I stand by what I said when I stated that Arsenal was scary, because they certainly went on that year to do exactly what I said, become title contenders, and they've maintained that up until this point. But I stand by them being scared. I know you're an Evan Banter, Dyke. You're a legend, right, of the channel. This is why I say they're scary. Let's say the worst case scenario here is that Arteta is at the end of his reign, and the players are a bit bored. They need something new. A new manager is going to come in and this team will be flying again. That's worst case scenario, in my personal opinion, is that the manager and the players have maybe gone as far as they can together. Somebody else is going to come in and they're going to start firing again. It's a very good squad. Yes, you can add more to it, but I don't think this Arsenal team has become bad in the last 2 or 3 Premier League games, personally. Bring on Egal now. What happened now? Blame the refs again. 10 men again. Speak now. Give some effing respect on my manager. What happened is what Data has got to say here. Has the PGMOL once again cheated the poor Gooners? No, I only call out decisions that I think are wrong. But I also criticized them last week for mistakes they made. But nice banter. Thanks for letting us know about Satanta Sporttel. It is great, and I use it all the time now with NordVPN. Do you think Arsenal are out of the title race? Arsenal are hanging on by an absolute thread. The skin of their teeth is what my dad would say. Skin of their teeth. If City lose today, if Liverpool drop points today, that's why I say it's still on, because it was on before the game kicked off. The results are going to say a lot, but there's a 7 and an 8 point gap between them and the team in second and first. It's going to be, they would need both teams to have really big collapses. However, though, this is how I would view this, you see. What you can't do if you're Arsenal when you go 7 or 8 points behind is give up. Oh, give up. It's pointless now. Because what if those other teams do have wobbles, but you've already given up? It'd be stupid, right? It'd be very, very stupid. You got to keep going. On the NordVPN, of course, people, get yourself signed up. If you haven't done so yet, you shouldn't be using the internet without a VPN provider. On top of that, what you can do is then sign up to Satanta Sports, go into your app, set it up. Once you've turned the VPN on, put it in Ukraine, Moldova. I normally use Georgia, to be fair. All the Premier League games at 3 p.m. All the Premier League games anytime are on. UFC, La Liga, Champions League. The League Cup was on there. And actually, it was better streaming than watching it on Sky. That kept on going down. So thank you, David, for shouting that out, my friend. Thank you. And by the way, hopefully the internet's looking a bit clearer today as well. I found out there was something I could do with Starlink. Costs a bit more money, but you do this thing where, I don't know what it's called, right? I'm a bit dumb. But it basically, whatever the speed you get, it will ensure that it maintains it. So instead of it like fluctuating all the time, so I couldn't stream in 1080 and it would keep making me sound like Megatron, this way, whatever you get in your area, it maintains it. Which is kind of crazy that they don't just maintain it anyway, and you've got to pay extra for them to maintain your broadband speed. But I suppose that's why Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, isn't it? There we go. Arsenal can only score from set pieces or a moment of brilliance from Saka. They create so little from open play. Let's blame injuries and the ref. Do you know what? I think it's certainly something they've got to focus on at the moment. I think some of it is really about the balance of the team when they start the game. Now, when I go back to the Leicester and the Southampton game, yes, they conceded some goals, but they played nice football. They played some beautiful stuff in that game. But again, by the way, they played some really beautiful cutting-edge football in the Liverpool game in the first half. So I'm not going to make any sweeping statements that Arsenal can't play nice football. Arsenal can't. I just look at the Bournemouth starting lineup and the starting lineup today, and I think the manager has got it completely wrong on both occasions. And there's been an imbalance, and it's created a problem, personally. Tough to watch, but Newcastle had a plan and executed it well. Now we have to win out, basically. No creativity without Odegaard is a concern. Players, do us a favor moving forward. Say no to your country. Yeah, I hear that. Arteta should be questioned. He absolutely is being questioned by Arsenal fans that I can see online and by myself, of course. The club needs to be careful. Title race almost done over, and it's not careful. Top 4 could be a loss. There's that, and also about, look, listen, this is why if you don't like Arteta already, you don't rate Arteta already, I'm not talking to you. I need to keep putting this disclaimer in because people misunderstand it. There's other tournaments to win as well this season. So it's about, again, if you're someone that is now sitting there thinking, actually, I think this manager's got to go, I kind of understand your view. What I don't think Arsenal fans can allow is almost this element of, right, the season's done, don't care anymore. You've got to care still. You've got to maintain sort of the pressure on your team to go out there and perform because you've got other tournaments to go and win. But he does need to be questioned, Arteta, no doubt. Terry, we have to ask the serious question. Where does PGMOL come in all of this? Absolute corruption again, surely. In fairness, they even booked a Newcastle player today for kicking the ball away. I couldn't fucking believe it. I couldn't believe it. Televised game, though. They do love to do it on the televised games. I bet they don't on the 3 p.m. ones because they're not televised here in England. Once again, only once has an 8-point lead been caught up in the Premier League. Let me ask you a question, though, Steve. When was that 8-point gap from? So I'm not trying to just be nice about this. Genuine question. When is that 8-point gap? An 8-point gap from now, the 2nd of November is obviously much easier to catch than, say, March. There's more games. But yes, I'd love to know. Oh, so that was in a 44 game season. So yeah, but how many games were left is my biggest question around that is. Arsenal flop and lose. Yeah, definitely. I think I put a much stronger. Are you talking about my title? Arsenal's title trouble. I mean, that's bigger than just saying they flopped and lost, isn't it? I'm talking about the entirety of their Premier League. Again, think bigger, think bolder. Come on. Beat United, beat Arsenal, 6 points ahead of Arsenal. Yeah, listen, if Chelsea end up ahead of Arsenal, the conversations are going to be crazy. Equally, though, Man United beat Chelsea. We're only a handful of points behind them. Me, my team. Well, I love football, man. It's amazing. Mikel is stubborn. Waneri should have played. I agree with you on that, mate. I knew when Newcastle beat Chelsea the way they did that Arsenal were going to lose today. By the way, that was their second squad. This Arsenal team is much stronger. Yeah, look, Newcastle were very good the other day. Very, very good indeed. They were very good again this evening. Arsenal scary. Ref and VAR cost them today. Trust. Thank you. Serial loser. Season 5, episode 10. Keep watching the series on Netflix. 5-star content. But I am going to be honest with you. You're just stealing that from Patrice Evra. Come on now. I will say this. It's like some of your jokes are funny, but they're other people's. So be more creative. I know you can do it. We're just shit. Binnets. All teams suck. Manager sucks. Abraham, you haven't got, let it out, Abraham. Let it out, my brother. Let it go. Let it go. Don't hold it back anymore. Right. Don't think we need to give up on the league, but rather focus on winning the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and the Champions League and still push. The problem you've got with that is so early. You can't have that mindset this early, in my very, very humble opinion. I'll tell you as to why. Because you will end up falling outside the top 4 if you just stop caring about the league. You can do that if you get to sort of April, early April, mid-April, and you're 12 points clear inside the top 4, you're gonna get it. Or if you're outside of the top 4 and you're probably not going to make it, and then you kind of rest players for Premier League games and you make sure your fit and strongest team is available for those European games, then you kind of can. From this point and the stage you're at, you can't do that. In all truth, you really, really can't. 4-4-2 formation is nowhere shocking. PGMOL done. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm shocked. I'm confused. On a serious note, what's your opinion on Arteta now? Look, I still think he's a very talented young manager. And I think, again, if you're someone that doesn't like Arteta, the last few games is going to be, I always told you about this guy. And I understand why that'll be some people's logic. I'm reading some people's tweets and some people's messages who think maybe he's just come to the end of his time at Arsenal. Some just think that they've had a couple of bad games and he's made some bad managerial choices in terms of who he's picked, and he'll get it right again soon and they'll go on a really good run. So everyone's going to have a different view. My opinion over these last couple of games hasn't changed about Mikel Arteta. Equally, he has to be judged this season on the trophies that he wins. And if he keeps getting it wrong with his selection and they don't win enough games, this is going to be one tournament they don't win. Then puts more pressure on him winning other tournaments. But wouldn't it be really ironic almost if they fall out of the title race early this year, but then go on to win a trophy or two elsewhere? That'll be an interesting conversation and debate. But look, my opinion hasn't overly changed. I think he's a very talented manager. I think he's a manager that can and will in his career win big trophies. Is he going to do it this season? Not the Premier League, it looks like right now. But again, they weren't my prediction to win. Arsenal weren't my prediction to win the league anyway. No, Terry, I don't know someone else that made that joke. Oh, you didn't hear Patrice ever do the Netflix joke. Okay, fair enough. I'm effing mad, bruv. First 10 minutes was absolutely great. What the hell? What the F happened? How did our defense switch off? Terry, I told you last week that the next 3 games are crucial. You said I was emotional. You were being emotional. You're being emotional now with the swearing. Doesn't mean they're not crucial games. I never disagreed with that point. Look, you could argue a bit of poor defending for that goal, but the cross was just out of this world. And sometimes I think you just hold your hands up and say, not much we could do. the bigger issue today was not the defending from that goal. The bigger issue today was your lack of creativity. That is what I would be calling out, Robert. But yes, it's okay to be emotional as well. But you're absolutely right. These games are crucial. We spoke about it a few days ago on the terrace. Has anyone seen Arsenal, Saka the Ghost, Arteta, Gabriel, Arsene Wenger, Piers Morgan, Matt Lucas? Your boys took one hell of a beating, is what Ads has had to say here. It was 1-0, but the joke works still, did it? Arsenal fans won't shut up about who plays Sterling's wages, yet they never mentioned that we paid Chelsea 70 million and they gave us a giraffe from London Zoo who is immune to quality, is what AK says here. Arteta got us believing the lineup is testing my belief. I would say this again. Probably the fifth time on the show. If you're someone that's never really liked Arteta, I get why it would test your feelings. If you're someone that like a month ago was like, this is our guy, I don't think your beliefs can be tested in a couple of games. I would say your belief was paper thin. Paper thin. Was it real for your faith to waver that quickly within the space of a couple of games? Maybe. But I think you're angry right now. And you're right to be angry. Of course you are. You want to win the league. I get it. Terry, Arteta went for 4-4-2 instead of 4-3-3. What, in attack? Just thinking about it in my head. Because I don't really watch football like that. I don't really watch it and go, what formation are we in? I never really do that. And when I say we, I'm talking about when I'm watching my team, not Arsenal. Oh, he got him! That's what they're going to say. I fully agree with you, Egal. The rest cost us again, sending off Saka in the first minute. Arsenal still haven't lost with 11 men on the pitch. Shout out to Raheem Sterling today. Chelsea fan Blaze is killing it. He's killing it. He's on fire today. Right, we're going to bring the panel out in a moment. Oh, God, some of your banter is terrible. Terry's so sad that his team lost. Come on now, do better. Also, we've got Toon Tactics TV. I didn't actually ask this man his name when I was DMing him the other day, but I listened to one of his videos on YouTube, heard him talk. Oh, he's a London boy like me, and I knew he was about my age because there's a lot of men my age, mid to late 30s in London that support Newcastle because they're a really good team in the early night. My cousin, big up Joe, Newcastle fan, actually. So there we go. Look, time for the panel now. We've got Dayo, Nathan, we've got Brandon, we've got Ashraf, we have Saad, Giuseppe, and Toon Tactics as well. Terry, you are right. Just angry now. No, listen, Tom, you're allowed to be angry. But I know some people think I'm an Arsenal fan, but I'm not emotionally invested. So when you're not emotionally invested, you do see things clearer. Generally in life. It's why I find, as long as they're sensible people, sometimes the best people in the world to get parenting advice off is people that don't have kids. Because they don't think about it from the perspective of, oh, but my son would hate it if I did this, or my daughter wouldn't like it if I told her off for that. Sometimes it's good to speak to somebody that's completely neutral to it, or at the very least doesn't have emotional connections to the conversation. Anyway, I digress. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. 5,200 people watching. I hope you can see him. We got the one plaque there, another plaque there. What's that on the floor? By the way, the amount of shoes I have in this office is ridiculous because I take my trainers off when I work. It's comfortable. And the other day I look down and I got 5 pairs of trainers and 3 pairs of shoes in here. And then just literally one there as well. I just saw it as I turned round. Scruffy bastard. Shoes everywhere. But yes, there's the other plaque on that side, the other 100k plaque. So thank you very much, KJ, for helping us to get that. Amazing. They're all up. And no, KJ, we are not sending them to your house, even though you run that channel. It's staying here at the home of the terrace. Right, let's do it. Let's bring everybody out now. Toon Tactics is here. Giuseppe's here. Brandon. We've got Saad, Dayo. We've got Nathan. We've got Ashraf. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I am going to go to the winner to begin with. I'm going to go to Toon Tactics. Big result for Newcastle today, mate.
Yeah, absolutely massive. And first, I want to give credit to Arsenal in terms of just you guys came, you played well, you really good in tight space. I was really, really nervous in going into this game. But look, Eddie Howe, I'll give him credit first and foremost. He made the change, kept Longstaff from the Chelsea game instead of Tonali. So there was a big old kind of hoo-ha amongst Newcastle fans as to why he did that. But it paid off. We had energy, we had legs on the pitch. We matched Arsenal in terms of their 4-4-2 formation, which surprised me a little bit. But again, our fullbacks, Livramento, Hall, especially against Saka, were really incredible. Hall was my man of the match as well. What is kind of the most definitive kind of statistic for me from the game is the fact that our ground duels, we kind of outfought Arsenal, but also in terms of Pope didn't have a save to make. And that was absolutely fantastic from a Newcastle perspective. And we were clinical. Gordon on the right, Willock on the left, Isak. Obviously, that goal was absolutely phenomenal. Really, really proud of the boys. And yeah, it came, you were right, Terry, when you said at the beginning, it came a very pressure time for Newcastle. We hadn't won a game in the Premier League for a long, long time. And so this was a big win. We've played 4 out of the 6 top 6 sides. We've taken about we've only lost one of those games, so we've taken about 7-8 points from those. So absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and you did deserve it. Absolutely deserved it. The sort of discipline you had defensively today, especially from your two fullbacks who never were caught out of position, that always got back into shape, like a massive amount of, and this is the hard thing, of course, Chelsea fans, United fans, Spurs fans are going to go in on Arsenal, and Arsenal fans are going to criticize what they got wrong. But I think it would be really unfair to not sort of call out and praise how well Newcastle played in this match.
No, absolutely. And we always do that, especially if it's our teams that loses or whatnot, we kind of focus on the things that we didn't do right. But there is the silence of the other team. You got to kind of also look at what they're doing as well. So yeah, no, big credit to Eddie Howe for his team selection, how the boys played. We did our counter press really well. So yeah, incredible victory for us.
Yeah, listen, absolutely, and well done to you, Giuseppe. Not the result you all wanted. Revenge was predicted for last season, but it was just another game where you could not get going in the attack, mate.
Yeah, mate. Do you know what? Yeah, at the start of the season, I said, and I had certain man telling me, "Oh wow, we scored 91 goals last season. We don't need a striker. We don't need it." And now you see why we do need this shit. Because I'm not gonna lie, today actually pissed me off more than any. I think this game, man, pissed me off more than any game the past few years because we looked anonymous. We looked like we didn't want anything. How can you go onto the pitch in this game knowing that if you don't win this game, yeah, let's be real, the title's gone. Like, let's be real. If Man City win today, 8 points, you ain't swinging 8 points on City. Let's be real. Without us fumbling a game or two, it's not happening. Let's be honest. Yeah. Not to say everything's over and we got to give up. We got to still go for it because crazy things have happened and you got to still try. Our best opportunity this season is to go for cups. In the game, though, Newcastle deserved the win. I think there's credit to Newcastle that has to go. That I thought they got that goal early and it was shut up shop from there. They just knew what they had to do and they done it. And they knew that we ain't creative like that without Odegaard. So they were like, if we just put everyone back and we've got our structure and we stay firm, they won't score. Yeah, we haven't got a striker. Yeah, I'll be real. We haven't got a striker, and I've done said it. And this is why I said we need a striker, because there was like 2 or 3 opportunities in that game where there just ain't anyone there. Saka puts it across the box. You got a striker. He's there. Haaland's there. When Saka puts that ball in and it makes it 1-1, Haaland's there, and this is the difference. And this is why when man like even Dayo and that are telling me we don't need a striker, yeah, I argue all the time that we need a striker. We didn't do enough in the summer, yeah, and now we have to bear witness to this. Fair enough to Newcastle. Arsenal, for me, Arteta has to take some responsibility. So does the players, because I'm not going to lie. Although I think he should have started 1 year in the game, yeah, that Trossard, brother. Like, what is going on with you, bro? Get off the pitch. Within 20 minutes of the game, I wanted him off the pitch. Honest to God, like I'm rattled today. I'll be honest. I've come on here to talk about the game, but I'm rattled. And now I could go through every player and say they've done shocking. Yeah, I just don't know with this team, man. Mental fatigue, I think, is a big factor. I think I'm looking at this team now this season and thinking we battled for the league twice right until the end. maybe not the first time, but right until the end last season, and we didn't win it. And it looks like mental fatigue is set into this team, and we're going to have a season where it's just not like the 2 seasons before. Not to say we can't turn that around next season and go again, but we haven't got enough. This is on Edu's head, not enough in the summer. Man them. Yeah, this is why at the start of the season, man them in this chat here right now, telling us we beat the Chelsea record, all this shit that we were talking, and I said we didn't do enough. Yeah, and I'm positive. I'm not even one of these negative Arsenal fans. I'm positive. But the way Arsenal fans were moving was brazy. The way we were saying we don't need a striker, that we don't need to sign an attacker. We let Emil Smith-Rowe go. Now what's happening? He's one of Fulham's best players. He'd slot straight into this team. It's just decisions that I think were wrong at the club from top to bottom. And now we got to look. And Arteta's now on the chopping block as well, mate. Like, I'll be honest, and I'm Arteta in. I'm not saying Arteta's got a guy I would never sack him mid-season. He's got till the end of the season. But the pressure on him now, yeah, not only from his own accord, from the board that didn't back him in the summer, in my opinion, as well, is now head is on the chopping block, and he has to, for me, look at other cups and that and say, yo, we still go for the league, but we have to prioritize cups. We need to prioritize that Carabao Cup and that.
On the points, so most people think around 90 points is going to be needed to win the league this year. For Arsenal have dropped 12 points in their opening 10 games. To reach 90 points, you can only drop 12 more points for the entirety of the season remaining.
Yeah, mad. And you got to play City again. You got to play at Anfield. You got all these little games that you can drop points in. We have to win the league now. If Arsenal win the league now, I'd argue that it's one of the most, and City win today, I'd argue it's one of the most impressive Premier League wins in history, because we would have to beat near on perfect for the rest of the season to win the league. That's why for me it's done.
Yeah, I get that. Brandon, I know you've got a shoot in a minute, mate. So I'll jump to you. What did you make of today, mate?
It's not over, but it's over, if that makes sense. If we drop points next week against Chelsea, it's done. Yeah, it's completely done. It's as simple as that. As Giuseppe rightly pointed out, we will drop more points this season. The fact that we've dropped 12 points in our opening games already, and we can only afford to drop 12 more to reach that sort of point total, it's just not going to happen, boys, especially with the way that we're playing right now. The way that we're playing right now doesn't fill me with confidence that this is a team that's ready to win the league, right? We see all that talk at the end of the season last season, Mikel Arteta and Odegaard standing in the stadium, last game of the season, we want more. We want more. Show me you want more. Yes, it's Newcastle away. It's not an easy game, right? Show me you want this league title. Don't turn up to Newcastle, play like a bunch of fucking pricks, because that's exactly what they did today. Exactly what they did today. And once again, yes, players hold accountability, but I look squarely in the eyes of the manager. Why? Because this was a 5-year process. This was his team. This is his project. Yeah? I didn't wait 5 years to win a league fucking cup. I want a Premier League title or a Champions League. I don't see this team, this squad, attaining either of them trophies because we are simply not good enough. Not good enough, right? And the manager can hold the majority of the blame for that because, as I said, this is his project he's built. This is his finished article. But also at the same time, like Giuseppe said, we didn't do anywhere near enough in the summer. And I blame the Cronkies for that because I don't think that they back the manager. And I actually sat there and said, you know what? I think Arteta has been let down this summer. But then the fact that he signed the new contract also told me that he's happy with this squad. But let me tell you this, boys, right? We're bringing off players because things are not going right in the games. And we're bringing on the likes of Zinchenko, who hasn't played all season, right? Highly, or very, very low on confidence, I would say, because in recent weeks, we've been bringing Lewis Skelly off the bench ahead of him. So Zinchenko's a guy who isn't very high on confidence right now. Jesus isn't very high on confidence right now. So we're looking at that bench thinking, who could come on and change the game? None of them are high on confidence because the manager's dented every single one of them in terms of confidence. Every single one of them. We stick with the same old crappy formation. You know, if we get a goal, we'll sit back, hit on the counter. It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish.
I hear you. I hear you. I get the frustration. I wanted to throw this out. I mean, was it 7 games on the bounce now without a clean sheet as well? I mean, that you could argue that's as big a issue as anything, considering how strong your defense has been, Brandon.
Yeah, exactly, bro. You know, the one thing that last season that we could all sit there and say, okay, maybe we have a chance of winning the league next year, is because our defense was so, you know, so formidable last season. And we kind of sat there at the end of the season. Everybody said it. If we get a clinical forward in this Arsenal team that will finish off them chances that we couldn't score against West Ham when we had 36 shots on goal, etc., etc., with that defensive line, we could actually be onto something here. But the defense has been poor this season, really has. Like, goals that we conceded, it is terrible. But again, as I've said, I didn't wait 5 years to win a League Cup or an FA Cup. I waited for that. And people keep telling me, yeah, but who are you going to go and get? Well, Manchester United have just got a manager, a young manager, who has won 6 trophies in 5 years with the Portuguese equivalent of Tottenham Hotspur. So there are managers out there that can go and do it. And I've said this before, right? Mikel Arteta might just be the guy, like a Brendan Rodgers, like a Pochettino, who, by the way, if Arteta does not win a trophy this season, that'll be 5 years without a trophy, which is the exact same as what Pochettino did at Tottenham that we all laughed about, right? So when are we going to start having conversations about that? Yeah? I'm sorry, I've had enough, I've really had enough. 5 years with
Mate, listen, listen, I would say this, and I've been saying it for a while when it comes to Arsenal. I think when it comes to this season, I think when it comes, last season I was saying this, but definitely this year, when it comes to the assessment of this Arsenal team now, I think you can compartmentalize the rebuild. Well done. You got us to a point where we were competitive. Now it's about winning these trophies. And I think that you have to be able to do that. And hugely disappointing result for Arsenal today. And we know Newcastle away is a tough game, but with the previous drop points, it's one you have to go and win. And league title winners in years gone by, including brilliant Arsenal teams, win this match by hook or by crook. They get it done.
Not even just win, though, right? What you have to do is you have to at least match the results that Manchester City are getting. Manchester City went to James's Park earlier on in the season and they got a draw. Okay, they dropped points, but they got a draw. We didn't even match that. You got to either better Man City's results or match them. And we just lost the game.
We didn't even look like we were fighting back. We look like somebody who was getting punched in the face and just taking it. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, when is Arteta going to make a substitution? The commentators at halftime were even shocked that he didn't make a change at halftime. I'm looking at this game and I'm saying to myself, you have a good enough team to beat this team. But even then, if you're going to make a change, you need to bring off Marino or somebody. Thomas Partey was the only person who's actually getting on the ball in the midfield and trying to do something. Newcastle basically said, keep the ball. You're not doing nothing with it. And the goal that we conceded, I can't even fault anybody. It was a beautiful goal from Newcastle. Isak showed what he can do, being in the right place at the right time. Beautiful delivery from Anthony Gordon. I think there's so many players that were poor today. You can look at the 2 center backs. You can look at Timber, who was poor. You can look at the midfield. Declan Rice's delivery from set pieces today was horrific. The worst performance, one of the worst performances I've seen from him. We already know about Leandro Trossard. Guys, we were saying Ethan was going to struggle physicality-wise. Why was Leandro Trossard on the pitch for that long? He was struggling, and he's a grown-ass man. Now, when it comes to this performance today, I think this is the worst performance Mikel Arteta has seen from his side since we've been competing for the league. Since we've been competing for the league, I have not seen an Arsenal team go away from home and play this bad. Even when we went away to Fulham, we showed more fight than we did today. Everybody here on the screen has their head dropped for a reason, because these guys made us lose belief today. These guys made us lose belief that this team could actually get through the mud, because we literally had to weather the storm for one more game. One more game, Martin Odegaard would have been back. One more game, our creative hub would have been back. And to me, it's not even about Odegaard. Newcastle are not a team that have been beating a lot of teams lately. Newcastle's a team that was struggling to keep goals from going in the back of the net. Yes, they had a good performance against Chelsea. That might have given them confidence. What happened to our team? Mikel Arteta is fully to blame for this result, not the players. You have to look at the manager. You have to look at the managerial group. They were sitting there. I think it was 55 minutes into the game. They showed a pan shot of the 3 of them thinking and trying to come up with something. Why does it take them until the 61st minute to figure out what they're going to do? Why does it take so long? And the final thing, before I go any further, everyone's saying the title race is over, the title race is over, this and that about the title race. You want to know the honest truth? That's not in our hands. We don't know what's going to happen.
That's your biggest problem.
We don't know what's going to happen because we have no control over our own results. Right now, we haven't won a single game in 3. Guys, Terry, you're talking about clean sheets. Forget about clean sheets. 1 point in 3 games. 1 point in 3 games. You cannot let this slip away from your hands. We've already thrown it away to a certain degree. I'm not saying the title race is fully done, but we need a massive collapse from Man City. I still believe Liverpool will drop off at some point, but I stand by what I said. If Mikel Arteta somehow finds his way in a third in this league title with no trophies, yes, he's going to have to hold accountability. And today's performance, I put it fully on the manager. You've had injuries, you weather stormed. Also, have you put Gabriel out there injured? Was it worth the risk?
He wasn't injured. He wasn't injured.
Because Martinelli, another poor performance. Also, what are we going to do about Martinelli's poor form? How are these players going to get out of poor form if they're played the same way every game, and in the game you're not making changes? You want to know something? I used to make fun of Unai Emery a lot. One thing Unai Emery did that I want maybe a little bit more from Mikel Arteta, when he sees a game is going wrong, he makes a massive seismic change. And from Arteta today, I did not see enough from him as a manager to show me why to trust these players. But yeah.
Okay, so we can talk about what Arteta did or did not do, and I agree with you. Managers should have made changes early, but then you also have to put it on the players as well. Newcastle today looked like they were playing with fire in their belly.
Yeah.
Newcastle players, after the first 15 minutes, literally lit a fire in their belly and started playing that way. They won every first ball, every second ball. They bullied us in the midfield.
They committed smart fouls as well.
Yes, they bullied us in the midfield. You would see our players get shoved off the ball and smile. You're at St. James's Park away. This is not the game where you need to start doing your little flicks and tricks. This is where you go in and you just get a simple 1-0 win and walk away from it. Like, go in and be nasty about it. So let's not even put this like, the players themselves, look, if a manager sets you up in a way where you think he's setting you up for failure, play with fire in your belly. Let me see you fight for those balls in his style. And if you lose it, then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, the manager is wrong. They played like they didn't want to win. We can blame Mikel Arteta for everything we want to blame him for. Is it Mikel Arteta's fault that we're missing the second tackles? Is it his fault that you're losing your aerial duels? Is it his fault? He's told you stay here and play in this circle, and you're playing in that profile he's asked you to, and you're losing out on your tackles. Is that his fault?
This is what I fault. This is what I fault Arteta for. This is what I fault Arteta for.
By the way, just to let you guys know, it's 1-0 to Bournemouth. By the way,
they almost scored in the first minute. That's not the point.
Big deal. We know they're gonna win 5-0.
They're gonna win. They're gonna win anyway. I know Man City are gonna win like 5-1.
Let me ask you one question. Let me ask you one question. After halftime, did we get better or did we get worse?
Exactly. Second half is the manager's half.
Listen, second half, yes, second half is the manager's half. My point again is this: second half, we got worse to me. So
is that not on the manager then, Dayo?
No, I said we can put everything we need to put on the manager, but the players themselves, even the way he set them up, you could not see. Bukayo Saka gets shoved off the ball, gets up and he's smiling with the player. What are you smiling about? You have 15 more minutes. What are you smiling about? These guys are not smiling. Are you looking at Bruno Guimaraes' face? That guy looked like he was ready to massacre anybody. So my thing.
But Dayo, this is the thing though. This is the thing though. But you're saying, please, Dayo, please. You're telling me to not blame the manager.
No, I did not say don't blame the manager.
I know. But you're telling me to look at players.
Dayo, let Saad speak, please.
I just want to rebuttal quickly because you're telling me, okay, the players, we need to blame the players, yeah. But
I said blame the players
in the second half. If the second half, if the players are still being told to do something that's clearly not working, why are they gonna still be, bro? They're gonna be like, bro, can we change the tactics? Because clearly what you're telling us to do is not working. Countless amounts of times when we're doing set pieces, we're going to the back post. They've realized the game plan, guys. We don't need to go to the back post because they've got it covered all the time. So it's clearly the manager's tactics, which the manager, between him, Airport Albert, and freaking whatever that guy's name, freaking Nick Jover, whatever his name is, yeah. Bro, they should come up, rattle their heads together and come up with a better game plan in the second half, bro.
We play the ball to the back post and we're jumping just like that. They're not even going for the ball. Newcastle, literally, I'm saying there's a no. Listen, Newcastle fought for every ball. Arsenal players did not fight for the ball today. I can understand what you mean by if my thing is if I put you in the position to play a certain way, go to the back post. If you fight for the ball fully and then we get nothing out of it, I'll change the tactic. I've not seen you fight for the ball in what I've asked you to do already. You're just going there and allowing them shove you off the ball. So what are we talking about here? You're saying...
But Dayo, your point holds weight if, let's say, 1 or 2 or 3 players are having that issue. When it's the whole team, including players who are usually fighters, like Declan Rice, you have to look at the manager. The first half, I understand. Fair enough. The players should have bucked up a bit more, should have played a bit harder. When you get in the second half and you play worse, that means the manager's halftime talk did not instill any sort of belief in the players. It did not drive up the players. It did not motivate the players. When we're making the same exact mistakes in corners and the way we attack and how we slow down attacks when we're countering, that is 100% on the manager. You can look at 1 or 2 or 3 players and say, you 3, you 4 should have stepped up. But when you have a bunch of players, especially players who are usually good and attack really well, suddenly get worse in the second half, that is on the manager. And I'm not Arteta out or anything. You've had streams with me I back Arteta as long as he's progressing.
But in this game, 100% it's on him. No, but hold on, we've got to do this. Sorry, Dayo, 1 sec. We've got to do this.
The players also
Dayo, 1 sec, bro. 1 sec. We've got to say this fairly, both, bro. You can't just sort of go off the players, bro. These men were not there, bro. Their passing was shocking, bro. The amount of misplaced passing.
Trossard in particular.
Let's be real. Let's not defend one or the other.
How about this? You're both right.
We're not
and the
defending
player
the
was
other.
crap today.
Giuseppe.
Yeah, the
How about
players
this?
as well were rubbish. Yeah, let's be honest. Yeah, it's not all on the manager. It's not all on the players. It's a both of them today.
Combination.
Say it was all tactical. To say it was all tactical is rubbish, in my opinion, bro. Because I was watching man switch the ball off the pitch, pass. I see man passing, directly to Newcastle players, bro. Like they're colorblind, bro. Yeah,
bro,
thinking it's red and white.
1 second. It's both. They're both terrible today. But the main thing is, you have managers and coaches on the sideline, and their job is to change the flow, to fix things. Newcastle, their whole task was to keep the 1-goal lead. We have a better team than Newcastle. We have better players than Newcastle. We have a better manager than Newcastle, in my opinion. But they outdone us today. And that's where I put it on Arteta.
They were the better team.
I do blame both. But Newcastle today were better than us, and that is on the manager. Because guess what? If we go out there, play 10 times, we probably win 8 of them. But today was on Arteta and Eddie Howe.
Yeah, but you know what?
You haven't got X Factor on the bench. You haven't got X Factor on the bench. Yeah, sorry, bro. When you haven't got X Factor on the bench, yeah. In these type of games, the thing that we can mainly blame him is starting 11. To bring players on, even at halftime, 60 minutes, whatever it is, when he brought players on, we don't have an X Factor player on the bench right now that can come on and grab the game by himself and win us it, bro. And that's the problem, because once you add, no matter who you bring, no matter who we brought on, I'm being honest, no matter who we brought on,
Brighton has scored as well.
I hear that, guys. Sorry, I want to go to Nathan on this. You want to make a point?
Yeah, but even when we did bring on the subs that we wanted, right? We wanted to see Ethan come into the squad, didn't we? Right? We wanted to see him play. It didn't get much better anyways. I mean, we can't scapegoat one or the other. It's both. The reality is that we play with no tempo. We play with no tempo, no desire. We didn't win no duels, right? So we can put it down to the manager's tactics as well. We can look at, in my opinion, the manager's a bit of a coward, because in reality is that we're switching up the whole way we play for Trossard. Right, we're having Havertz drop into the right half space. And we're in the positions in which Odegaard tends to occupy to accommodate Trossard in midfield, where we do have a natural player in Ethan who would be a like for like replacement for Odegaard. Sorry. So for me, it's picking out this whole kind of debate or argument about who's more to blame. It's both. The players did not show up today. We've seen it before. Even when we went to St. James's Park last season, we showed a bit of fight. We were in a battle with them. We didn't make it easy for them. Today, we just rolled over for them. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff, and everybody looked like they just got out of bed. And that to me is the most frustrating and disappointing thing. It was a disgraceful performance. Like you're going for a league title. You've talked about all these things about how hurt you were last season and how you want to make it right.
and then you come and you show up like that. There was no urgency. That tempo, the way we moved the ball was like it was a 5-a-side, but like for geriatrics, where old people just kicking about in your 50s. You got no legs. There was no tempo. The ball was moving so slow. There was no rotations. If you saw the way that Newcastle opened us up, especially in that first half, with their rotations on their left hands, quick, incisive passing, where was that? Where was that? So we can hold both to account. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. And the manager
I think it's certainly both in these phases. I want to throw this question to Souls. I saw a number of people. I saw rivals tweeting that Arteta has been found out, and I've seen a number of Arsenal fans tweeting and posting messages, words to the effect of maybe this is like the beginning of the end. Maybe the players and the manager are just sort of a bit bored of each other. Could it be their ceiling? Do you think there's any truth to any of that, Souls?
I mean, it's difficult to say because when you're actually looking at it, he's not making any ballsy decisions. He's not doing anything that actually inspires confidence in these players. You know, this is his squad. This is his bench. This is his starting 11. I'm not hearing any excuses other than this is on the manager right now. At halftime, everyone, even the rivals were baffled. How the fuck have you kept the same 11? Everyone's baffled. His biggest lovers, his biggest haters, we're all unified for the one decision. How have you come out with this, right? That actually, let me keep the same stinkers on the pitch. How do you think about it? If you're having stinker after stinker, you're 45 minutes of stinker at work, and nothing's changing. They're not changing procedures. They're not changing processes. They're not changing tactics. What are you going to do on that pitch? You are going to fail to realize that if he had just thrown Ethan Nawari and said, you know what, here's your time to shine. I know he may have had a stinker of a cameo, but having that ballsy moment, just having that moment where you take the game as a manager and go, I'm going to do something that shocks the world. The problem with Arteta is he doesn't want to win. He wants to win whilst being acknowledged. Fuck you. No one gives a shit about you, fam. Team needs to win. Arsenal needs to win. Arteta doesn't need to win. Why do you need to make everything so complicated and this brainiac thing that you need to be the Einstein of football? Sometimes it's fine to be stupid. Sometimes it's fine to be stale. Your system worked for 4 seasons. You were competing, and now as soon as you have one injury, your brain cells disappear. Did Odegaard's injury cause you to have brain damage? Because all you had to do was bring a number 10 in. And for those people who say we didn't have star factor, we didn't have anything on the bench, whose fault is that? That's Arteta's. You decided to get rid of ESR. You decided to loan out Fabio Vieira, promote a youth player, right, and bring Ethan Nawari into the squad and then go, oh shit, we don't have a number 10. Oh, wait a minute, Ethan's right there. Fuck that. Trossard, you play. 45 minutes stinker. Ethan looking back on your bench and going, actually, Ethan, stay on that bench, lad. How do you?
So can I just get it right?
How and where?
So everybody agrees. Everybody here agrees that Ethan should have started, right? Yeah.
Yeah. As an opposition fan, I would.
I definitely don't. I definitely don't.
It's not about whether he should start or not.
By
For me,
I don't think he should have started.
You've got to keep your system as recognizable as possible. Don't build a house up and renovate a house just to demolish it the next day.
Yeah,
that's not how the world works. The problem is, right, everyone's confused on that pitch because they're so used to playing in a certain way and they've been so successful in playing a certain way that Arteta's come in with one injury and decided, you know what, I don't even know what football is anymore. Stop being the main character and just do what you know that works. That's all we needed. Look, January is January. We can't sit here and say we need a striker. What can we do now? The problem with Arteta is he needs to do what Troy Deeney said that Arsenal don't have and grow a pair of fucking balls. Sure. Grow a pair of balls and make this your moment. And I'm going to say this. If it wasn't for Unai Emery and Freddie, I don't even think Saka has an Arsenal career. Because this guy is allergic to playing anyone who comes through the academy. I'm sick to death of this thing of he's not ready. Every time he plays, he inspires confidence. You do not promote and sell every single player in that position and make this kid your understudy and not play him when you need him. You've got an injury. Do what you were ballsy enough to do in the summer and play that player. Just grow a pair of balls is what we need right now. And inspire.
Can we not hold the ball to account, though? Can we not hold the ball to account? Because when you look at that window, right, and I've said this many times, and I hate to keep on harping on about it, but when you look at that window, you look at Moreno, you look at Calafiori, and you look at Sterling, the signings, does that really inspire hope of coming into into a season and dethroning Man City? Does it really? Right, Raheem Sterling, the dross from Chelsea, right? The leftovers from Chelsea, right? Calafiori, a talented young centre back, but okay, is he really gonna help us going forward? Where was the addition? Moreno, who's supposed to be the dual winner, right? The player that's supposed to fix our left hand side. I've been told by all these tacticals, all these Twitter people, all these people online, right? Moreno doesn't look any better on the ball than Granit Xhaka. He looks worse than Granit Xhaka on the ball. Xhaka at least would consistently find passes between the lines. Xhaka will consistently ask for the ball and set tempo. What is Moreno's biggest strength is his dual winning and his ability to attack the box. What does he offer us on the ball? When I looked at that window, I didn't feel inspired, and I've said that over and over again. We've got into a summer, and we haven't bought anything to topple City with, and then we're here scratching our heads come November why we don't look a much better side. Because those plays in isolation do not.
Guys, I was Eddie, because even if you look at reports and look at what KSC offered the money has always been available. The money has never been a problem from the KSC, and we've seen that in the seasons Arteta's been here. They had a war chest of £250 million to spend, and they said, you know what, forget that. We'll go get a Sterling for free.
You really believe that? You believe that out of Moreno and say Bruno Guimaraes, for instance, all the other midfield options.
Matt O'Reilly from Celtic was the player you should have got.
Right, you really think Arteta would have said? Right, you really think Arteta would have said, "Bring me Moreno"? Out of all the possible players, a guy that's cut. Huh?
But here's the thing,
because Bruno, you know the thing is, the reason why I say he'll do that is because Mikel Moreno is easier to manage. Bruno Guimaraes has his problems. He has got a bit of a nasty streak about him, not in a bad way, but he's just a bit more of a you have to manage him. Whereas Moreno, you tell him to do a job, he'll listen to you. He's more compliant. He's a robot.
I hear where you guys are coming from. I want to jump into some of these super chats here because I know everyone's watching the other games as well. This here says, Ineos, go for Bruno Guimaraes. We need a boss. I mean, he looked pretty decent. Yeah. Haven't lost faith in the team. I fear the collapse. Listen, and I get why Arsenal fans would be fearing that. How's that revenge tasting? In fairness, I did say Arsenal would win today. It's not my revenge. But I also stated, if people go back to what I said when I previewed it, is that if Newcastle scored in that opening 15 to 20 minutes, they would go on to win the game. I thought it was going to be one of those matches today.
Terry, the one person who did get their revenge was Jorginho on Bruno. I don't know if you guys saw the last 5 minutes. He got his elbow in on the
I did see that right at the end. I did see that.
That was personal.
I did see that. Saka was missing. Same for What would you? I want to go to Steve on this. Would you say Saka was missing today, or do you think Hall just had a great game?
I think it was a bit of both. I'd lean more honestly towards Lewis Hall because defensively, Philip will agree with me on this. Both of our young fullbacks defensively, that's not their primary strength right now. It's going forward. It's creating. It's the comfort on the ball, getting out of tight areas. Defensively, both of them have a lot of work to do, but we've seen some great performances from both of them. They're young players, and today was a big step in the right direction for both of those young English players. So I felt it was more of Livramento and Lewis Hall stepping up.
Can I say something real quick to what you just said? The truth about today's game is the energy levels of Newcastle was at 99%. Arsenal was at 75%. Forget how we're set up. Look, let's leave tactics out of it for now, just for a second. The players on the pitch, Lewis Hall, did you see how he was marking Saka? It's almost like Saka was trying to glide. Dude, stamp your feet on the ground, be strong, and shove him off the ball. This is
question for you on that. I understand your point. Why do you think they weren't at it today in that way? I know we don't like the analysis anymore of one team wanted it more than the other, but it's almost what you're alluding to. The question I have is, why do you think that was?
Number one, I just think that, I don't know. I just think that the players today, they're just weak on their feet. I think they're just weak on their feet. And I think an away game at St. James's Park with Newcastle, they're at home. Yes, they've not won a lot of games in recent times, but they're at home. It's Newcastle. It's going to be hard. The crowd is going to be loud. They want to try and get something out of it. And how better to bounce back as Newcastle than to beat an Arsenal or a City if they come over to your home ground?
Yeah,
that's the thing. So, I think that's what they did. They got the better of us strength-wise.
Egal said last week, "Baby, calm down, calm down." I don't know. I don't remember you saying that. Maybe he did. I forgot. Gets Arteta ban out of my club. It's really hard for a dyslexic to read. Egal, you could be this humble. Lol, Egal, you could be this humble. My bro, one love. Why was Rice looking like Enzo Fernandez today?
I don't know. What happened to his set piece delivery today?
You didn't have a great day.
Same thing.
And then even that miss was criminal today. That lot,
Oh,
like
yeah.
we could have stolen the point.
Question for Dayo. Yeah, that miss at the end was mad. Dayo, talk about your owners, Edu Arteta, the players, and your delusional fan base that allows this. Netflix FC.
So CA Mafia, here's the thing again. This is the same Arsenal team, 10 men that played City and took a draw. At the Etihad, this same team. So don't come here and tell me that these guys don't
This is where I feel people are going.
Exactly. Don't tell me that they don't have the fire in them to go and do what they need to do. This was 11v11 Newcastle at St. James's Park. Newcastle outplayed us today because we were crap. Simple. I don't want to hear any, Declan Rice could have tried. And no, we were crap today.
This is where I feel.
Arteta set us up bad. We were terrible. He didn't make changes when he needed to. And the Newcastle players showed us what it means to be strong physically. Today, our strength was nowhere to be found. If you want to talk about Edu and talk about the fan base, this same team that has played 10 men against Brighton, taking the point away, 10 men against City, has played Tottenham away without our most creative player. Actually, we played 3 games where the most 3 games where we 3 points with 10 men. And you're here talking about, no, be realistic about the thing.
This here says, Giuseppe, you said you didn't need another striker because you had the best defensive striker in the league on Footy Judge Mo's stream.
Well, that quote me properly if you quote me. I've always wanted a striker, but I argued the fact that some people say if you buy a top world-class goal-scoring winger, then you don't need the striker, and Havertz can do that job. So quote me properly, bro. I've been the one that sat here and said we need a striker the whole time.
The youth Arsenal were meant.
I thought Arsenal were
mentality monsters. Great start to the weekend. Arsenal fans needed humbling Kate and Arteta in. Oh, that is from Kate. Yeah, hello, Kate. Sorry, you've changed the name of your channel. I didn't realize it was you. Sorry. We don't need a striker. We don't need a striker. The Arsenal tears are just beautiful. Some said they would beat Chelsea's goal scoring record. I mean, that's gone now. I mean, it's
in
gone.
our lifetime. I don't think anybody will get.
Do you know what's annoying me though? I'm blaming KJ for this. People keep quoting and putting the thumbnail out of mine and Hussam face on it with saying that they'll break the record. People keep messaging it. They think it's me that said it. I said, no, it's Hussam said that, not me. It's fake news. It's fake news. When Arteta leaves, you positive fans follow suit. Sick and tired of it now. Week after week, month after month, year after year. Wake the fuck up.
Cam, all I have to say to you, Cam, is I see you. I see what you do. Don't do that. Because he's the first one to be jumping up and down, yelling and screaming, we're going to win the league. And then the moment we lose a couple games, he's out here saying Arteta out. You're more
I've never seen Cam do that.
Yeah, this is where I think people need to stop being that reaction. Like, I'm upset at the manager, but big up to Gunnar Souls. But the fact that he's saying, Trossard there, it didn't work. That's absolute crap. It was working all these games. It worked against City before we went down to 10 men. It was working against Liverpool before the injuries. It worked against PSG when Trossard was one of the best players on the pitch. Let's not go crazy now. We have been playing really well, and we have come up against very difficult fixtures. We can look at this game in isolation and say, the players were crap, the manager was crap, but let's not go crazy and go overboard. We forget all the good things that happened in the last 1 or 2 months and suddenly pretend like this team has been garbage.
Do you know what I want to say on this as well, though? About listen, Cam, hope you're well, mate. Hope you're good. I haven't seen you for a long time. My view on this situation is it's not about if you're positive, we'll leave with them. I still think, and I think Arsenal fans and Man United fans are the slowest when it comes to this. All of us. I'm collectively speaking here, no individual, slow. None of our clubs have managers, really. We have head coaches.
Yeah.
Your rebuild is still complete, whether Arteta stays beyond this season or not. Any gooner that thinks the whole thing's built in Arteta's image, I'm sorry to say it to you, you're delusional. It's not. Arteta doesn't need to be here. I know you want him to be the guy that gets you over the line, but somebody else can do that for you. When you were in the middle of that rebuild, I understood why sticking with that manager made a lot more sense as you were progressing. Yeah, and you're progressing as long as the trajectory is up. But you're at a point where you're built now. You look at all the teams that perform well. Sorry, a player was running. I thought he was going to concede another goal. What's he stopping for? Shoot, you dickhead. Sorry, I just want City to
Watch
lose.
them lose today. Watch them both lose today.
No, they won't. They won't. They absolutely won't. But the point I'm making is that you look at all the top teams. Ancelotti isn't going to leave Real Madrid and suddenly Real Madrid don't know what to do. Bayern Munich consistently go through managers. The club doesn't stop knowing, typically speaking, what to do. And this is why I say to Arsenal fans, like the ones that have been positive about the rebuild that's been in place, they're not completely wrong if Arteta gets sacked. You know, unless they predicted Arteta would win a major trophy, but that's still not the end of the world. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think you're going to sack Arteta and then it's going to be a brand new rebuild from the beginning, starting from scratch. I just think Arsenal fans have got to leave that train of thought.
Two positives, though. Everyone, don't get angry. Isak's trial might have worked out. Hopefully.
Oh my
Isak's
God.
trial might have worked out. I know you guys are all pissed off. Everyone's pissed off. I'm pissed off. But the reality situation is this is an eye-opener. And if it took the Fulham game and the West Ham game last year to open everybody's eyes, we got an international break. Odegaard's going to be back. Hopefully we can get ourselves back up and firing. But if we go and drop points to Chelsea away from home, I swear to God, I might lose it more.
I just want to say Newcastle, well done. Newcastle
deserves congratulations today.
They outplayed us today. I don't look. I watched that game. I had to wake up at 6 to get ready, make coffee, make sure the kids are still sleeping, come and sneak out here to watch my game. And the first 15 minutes, I'm like, oh, come on, boys. In 20 minutes, I was like, what is going on? Why does Newcastle look like prime Barcelona? We look like Nottingham Forest. Like, what's going on here? Like, literally. They outplayed us.
Yeah.
And we do normally.
I understand.
Everyone's man of the match real quick. I'm going Livermento.
Yeah, I'd have gone with Livermento.
I'll give it to Isak. I'll give it to
I'd have gone with Livermento myself as well. I thought he was really good. Just a few people in the comment section on what I said about Arsenal moving on. I do think some Arsenal fans are worried about having to admit they were wrong about Arteta as well. As in, if their prediction was he's going to win certain trophies, I guarantee he does it. It's again, just if that's the only reason why you're like getting crazy about all this, I think you need to drop it. The same as if he wins, if he wins a major trophy, the people that said he wouldn't, still, so what? Do you know what I mean? It's a prediction.
Wrong. I think it just takes a bit of humility to be like, hey, I got a footballing prediction wrong. I do it all the time.
Can you? Yeah. The game was won based on energy levels. Traveling to Preston and back to Newcastle is a lot of travel in less than 3 days.
Come on, stop it. No excuses. We can't.
I'm gonna chalk that up.
But there's an even better challenge to that, though, than no excuses. It's like, well, fucking stay up north then. Why come back home? Stay up there. Stay up there and train. Dayo, my friend, we blame Arteta because this is his squad after 5 years. Stop protecting Arteta for once. In fairness to Dayo, I definitely heard him criticize his manager. I'm sorry, but if your players are not ready for a physical battle from minute 1 at St. James's Park against Newcastle, that is on Arteta. I want to thank everyone that's tuned in today. This stream is going to redirect you to Hassam's watch along for Liverpool versus Brighton. We're live after those games as well, so get yourselves back here for that. I want to thank the panel for coming on today and all having their say, giving us their views and their opinions. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.